All right, welcome to Mr. Brian's Amazing World. Yet again, I'm going to showcase another really awesome vehicle that we built here. And this one is our 1990 Jeep Wrangler. This particular Jeep, well, got it and it needed a bunch of work and did a couple cool little tweaks to it, made it even better. It's sitting on a 4-inch lift, nothing special. 33-inch BFG mud tires, and these are 33 by 10.5 by 15s. They're a little bit on the skinny side, as opposed to going with a 12.5. The reason being is it's a Jeep, and we don't want to have such a big wide footprint. The lighter this is, the better. Sitting on aluminum wheels, again, we're taking away some reciprocal weight, making it a little better of a ride and less force for the Jeep to have to fight and to overcome. Basically, what this Jeep is, other than a just regular 1990 Wrangler, is, well, it's black, and it's ours, and it's in just the right condition that we're not worried about little scratches and dents and dings. We can do whatever we really want to it, and it's really just perfect for that. So one of the other things that we did that made this extra special is under the hood. When we got this, it had a little 305 stuffed into here. And I guess, 305 is a 305, but it did not run well at all. So what we did is we ripped that 305 out and we got a nice Chevy 350. Now this thing is pumping out 375 horsepower, 375 foot-pounds of torque. And it's a monster to have inside of a Jeep. And it really, really works pretty well. It's got just the right sound to it, and man. And it's kind of like having your Corvette with 4-wheel drive if you want. And I've always wanted to build a really neat Jeep. I always needed pickup trucks for work. But now I lucked out and finally was able to build one. So what we did is behind this small block Chevy, we mounted an NV 3500 manual transmission. So we have 5 gears in this thing, 5-speed manual. And we pulled that out of a GMC S15. So if you try to get one of those, you have to have it out of an S15. The 1500s, the tail housing was too long and you can't fit all that into a Jeep. So that's the only trick with all that. Basically, it's not the strongest of transmissions, but it will work as long as you're not really beating on it. It's really pretty neat. So this thing, it's got a little push button starter here. And she fires right to life like that. Oh, and it's got just the right tone to it. Real nice. Fun little project here. This small block Chevy 350 in there. And it still needs a little tweaking, a little bit of work. So, aside from that, down below, we're still running the stock front end. But the trick is, out back, we have 410 gears in it. That's helping us out, especially with this much power and all these other gears. So this sucker will crawl right along. But here's the real kick. We ripped out the Dana 30 and put in a Ford 8.8 rear end into this. So we have disc brakes in the back now, 410 gears, and a whole lot stronger. Also, here, slip yoke eliminator kit here. So this doesn't have to slide and break that. Works. Now it's even better. Our Jeep. Yeah, so with these 410s, these really low gears, this thing will just crawl right along. I mean, just creeping. It's kind of a lot of fun to do. Really, really neat Jeep. It's kind of odd once you get into these. They're not cheap at all. Swap like this is a couple $1,000 when you want to get a good engine that's going to work reliably and not have problems. I guess some of the problem with this type of engine, you have to run premium in it. But I don't know. It's a lot of power in a Jeep. Fun Jeep. Oh, where the kid went here? Cruising along in this thing. So hooked up an oil pressure gauge, temperature gauge, much needed stuff, helps out a little bit. the ride. Mr. Brian's Amazing World. Make sure you check out our other videos. We've got some really cool stuff. Volkswagen with a Subaru engine in it, a bus. And we're going to take this Jeep out and do a lot of really fun stuff with this. Beat on it a little bit. It's meant to play and meant to have a good time. So make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks. So now this little beast, got an Edelbrock carburetor on there, Excel distributor, and good old hooker headers. Nice couple little goodies for this little engine. Help it produce. You know, it's not all about looking pretty. You know, chrome valve covers, woohoo! You know, Pennsylvania road salt didn't take long to eat those up. Kind of why it's not worth having too much really nice stuff around here. At least if you're going to drive any of it in the wintertime. And that's what this Jeep's for, you know, playing out in the snow, having a great time. Overall, works pretty darn well. But a really neat Jeep. Let's see, what else does this thing have that I neglected to mention? The rear end, our Ford 8.8, make sure you check out our other video when we did the installation on that. That was quite a project, having to put that whole thing together. Other than when I got it, it had half the suspension lift done, the rear end was sitting low, so it was like this. And I got a good deal on this thing, and well, as with any Jeep, once you start, that's it. You're into them. But it's been a really fun project, and now, hey, I have a bad Jeep because of it. So I hope you decide you want to like and subscribe to this Mr. Brian's Amazing World. The interior, you know, it's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good. It has everything you really want in there. Can't wait to roll this one around with no doors and no top. That's my favorite thing to do with the CJ over there. Drove it all summer with no top on there. But having those 410s in the axles for the gear ratio with this size 33-inch tire, absolutely perfect. That transmission and perfect gearing in that. Works very nice. It just crawls around 4 low. We can just creep. And we have a limited slip. When we did the Ford 8.8, I got the axle out of a Ford Explorer that has a limited slip in it. Awesome little extra thing, especially with this much power from the V8. I mean, just as soon as you get off the gas, it'll light the tires up. So having that really helps. What else am I missing on this thing? Yeah, it's looking pretty under there. You know, a couple new Rancho shocks, disc brakes in the back. That'll help. I have to cut those bolts down there yet that are hanging low, but I wanted to get her back together and on the road so we can start driving it. And winter is almost here and really need to use this vehicle. So one other special thing we have here is our cable lock system. Now what this does is when you pull this, it actuates a cable in the front axle and locks your front axle together. This had a vacuum thing that would do that. When you put it in four-wheel drive, it would lock it together. The perk of doing this, you can drive this Jeep around in two-wheel drive low range. So you can just crawl around in the yard, two-wheel drive, not tear everything up and have plenty of snot and power to, you know, pull whatever you need to do. Kind of a neat little feature to have. And it's up to you to decide when you want to have it locked or actuated or not actuated. Perk of that is if you're going to run some kind of a limited slip up front or a locker, you can control when the axle's connected together and really cut down on your scrubbing and your wear and tear on your tires. Kind of an extra little neat feature to it. One more perk of this little Jeep. I hope you like this thing as much as I do. I know we're going to take it out and beat on it. I've always wanted one, longest of times. God. And then you have this thing, its predecessor. You know, that Jeep is a 1990. This is a 1984 Jeep CJ7 here. Another really fun Jeep to have. Cruise around. This one's in really great shape. Of course, this is a 6-cylinder with a 4-speed. Jeeps. Character, the old tire on there. It'll get me home if I need it. Wow. They're a lot of fun. I'm sure, you know, if you're into this video, you probably like Jeeps to begin with, and you're probably out four-wheeling and doing fun stuff with them. I mean, this thing's almost looking too pretty. You gotta get it out and get it muddy. Neat old aluminum rims on that thing from the 90s. Hard to find stuff these days. I got lucky. Actually, they came with this Jeep thrown in on the deal. Like, all right, sure, I'll take them. And then, you know, you find another project, and that's what it becomes. Well, we'll put it into that. Whew. Awesome stuff. Figure I'd give you a little shot from the back here. Check it out. The rear seat, the roll bar. Little things that are a little different from these. this bar here compared to the CJ7. It doesn't have that. So when you're driving around with no top on it, it really feels like you're out in the open in the CJ as opposed to this. Makes you feel slightly more secure, and well, frankly, you are a little more secure. But that's kind of the fun of driving around with no top. It's a lot like riding around on a motorcycle. Especially here, you can take your whole family with you and you're all giggling and laughing and smelling all the smells that are out there. But that's a fun part of having a Jeep. They'll take you all over the place. You have a good time with these things. We're also running extra wide set of bushwhacker fender flares on here. I believe they're 4-inch. Give me that coverage that I need. Nice LED turn signals in the side of them. I don't know if you can see the paint here. It's seen better days, losing its clear coat. I don't know. We did do the patina and saved it and clear coated this one. I'm sure maybe we'll do that to that Jeep too. Why not? But again, we're not so concerned with this one as we are with that one, keeping it nice. I mean, the road salts are going to eat it up pretty good. This one's more about having fun and getting out there and playing. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful day.